Hey readers, this is Mr. Marshall here at Stony Lane. I know that you and your class have been studying how we research, how we use nonfiction books to try and learn about a topic, to learn more about a topic that you might already know a lot about. And and I know that maybe your class is studying animals or some other topic, right? And and that you've come up with some questions, like big questions that you can think about that are going to kind of guide you in what you're going to read, because you can't just read everything. You have to read kind of like looking for something. That's what researchers do. They kind of know a little bit about what they're looking for. And so the big question that I want to like read about is, how do some kind of animal grow? Because all animals grow, but they kind of do it differently, don't they? They kind of do it differently. And so one way that I can do that is when I'm reading, if I start to see that it's about how an animal grows or changes, like some animals just get bigger, right? They look the same, like a tiger looks like the same thing when it's a baby and when it's a grown up, except it's just really big, right? Um, and some animals don't do that. Some animals don't change their size, they change something else about their body. Or sometimes animals change their behavior. And so, what we want to do is we want to think about, well, how do different animals grow? Okay. And so, one way that we can do that is we can start thinking of like making a timeline of, first this happens, then this happens, then this happens. Okay. So, watch, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make a timeline about an animal. I'm say, like, first it's like this, then it's like this, then it's like this. Okay. So, watch. I'm going to be reading this book, Frogs. Okay, frogs. Here we go. Frogs lay eggs. In the eggs are tadpoles. Tadpoles change and grow, change and grow. Do you see that? Look at what the tadpole looks like here. I'm seeing that it's got this kind of shape. There's a little tail here, and that must be something like its head. And then over here, it's longer. It's longer. It looks kind of like almost like a slug or something, right? Its shape changed. Change and grow. Look at that. Now it's starting to look kind of like a fish, isn't it? It's got a really long tail, and here's its head. It's got like, it looks like a fish because it looks like it has fins, and it must need that in order to swim, right? And now look at it over here, even later. It's starting to look a little bit more like a frog. It's got legs. It's got a really long tail, but its skin is like thicker, isn't it? 'Cause here it's like really thin. I can almost see through it. But here it's thicker. It looks almost like a frog, doesn't it? Let's see. And they change and grow into frogs. Look at that. It still has kind of a tail here, but it's got four legs now. Frogs change and grow. Change and grow. Change and grow. Wow, you see how its body's getting bigger, but it's also like it's starting to look like it has different parts to its body. Like, I guess this is like its ear or something. Its skin is not as shiny, right? And lay eggs. And that's how it must start over again. Because when it's a grown up, it lays eggs again, and then it starts over again with the eggs, doesn't it? Okay, so let's see. Let's do this. How do frogs grow? So in the beginning, now on my timeline, I'm going to use some words and I'm going to use some sketches. Okay, in the beginning, it started off as an egg. It just kind of looked like that, didn't it? A teeny tiny egg, right? And then next, inside the egg were the tadpoles, right? And it kind of had this like weird shape, like a comma, right? And then they got long. So let's see. It was kind of like, right? I don't have to make it look exactly like it because I'm just sketching. And then it got like really long. Okay, so I'm gonna write the word tadpole here. See what I'm doing? I'm making a timeline of my frog's body. Okay. Oh yeah, this is that one that looks kind of like a fish, right? But it's still a tadpole. So I'm gonna try and sketch that. So it's long. It's got that fin on the back, and here's its head. It still doesn't have legs. I'm gonna draw his eyes. Okay, see that? I can label it here. It's got a fin and it's got a tail. See what I'm doing? And now later on, it's a little bit bigger. Remember? And now it's got some back legs. Right? And now there's no fin. So I'm gonna write no fin. It's got a thick tail. You see what I'm doing? I'm not done yet. The frog is not all grown up. But you see what I'm doing? You see how I'm using a timeline and I'm writing words and I'm sketching what he looks like? Okay. I could do that for the frog's whole life. And then what I would do is I would talk about each picture and maybe say how it's changed. I could talk about why I think it changed that way and how that helps the frog to grow up. Okay. Do you see how I did that? That's something that you can try when you're trying to figure out how your animal grows. And you could do it with one animal the way I did. You could do it with lots of animals and maybe like compare them. So there's different ways that you can do this type of research. Okay. So if you're trying to figure out more information about how animals grow, you can use a timeline the way that I just did. All right. Good luck with that. I'll see you next time.